Hello, I hope you're well. So today I'm going to carry on talking about ambassador programs. Yesterday I talked about micro and macro influencers and the benefits of kind of working with both. And then also suggested that, if you're starting out on your ambassador program, then probably starting with your customers and then rolling out a request to see if anybody would like to jump on board and join an ambassador program to support your business, and would be a good starting point. But today I wanted to talk about just the next step really, and the type of ambassador programs that you can run. So what do I mean by that? So for example, most people assume that with an ambassador or an influencer program, that obviously if you're not paying somebody for their time to create content on your behalf around your product or service, and using their audience to engage with them around your business, then you're either going to have to pay them or give them a product or service in exchange. And generally, you can do either depending on what your budget is. Personally, I prefer going for the product or service, because then I know that person has then used the product or service, seen it, and then can actually talk about it genuinely. And then also probably in lines with your integrity values and all those kind of nice things, which are massively important. So when you've chosen somebody that can represent your brand, I tend to go for like 4 to 5 people, but it also depends on what product you're sharing and how many of them you're willing to kind of almost give away to somebody in exchange for their time. And so one of the things that I sort of advise on doing is, rather than trying to give away everything all at once, especially if you've got several products or services that you would like to share with them, then spread it over the course of like 2 to 3 months. Okay, so use your ambassador program and then create it within like a 2 to 3 month window, because what happens is generally is that normally you'll send somebody something, they'll love on it, straight away. They'll get really excited that they've got it. They may even produce their content there and then that's it. It's quite hard work to then get them to maintain that excitement, and then to keep on creating that content, because they've moved on, right? They've gone on to do something else. They've got different messages to share of their platform. Whereas if you can actually plan the program against 2 to 3 months, then you're nurturing and building that relationship with them over that time period, and you're also then working with them in terms of how best to present your product to the world, right, or service to the world. And so if I look at something like Beauty Cubes, I was talking about Beauty Cubes yesterday, and actually I'll carry on with that today as consistency. But what we've done is we've created an ambassador program over the course of three months. And what we've done is, for the first month, we've sent a specific product around a specific theme, because that's what we want to promote. So for example, we've sent anything related to travel, so travel items. So Beauty Cubes, they create, Emma and her team create plastic-free shampoo, and they're cubes, and they're awesome, by the way. My husband's converted now. It's hilarious. And so what we want to do in March is we're going to focus on the travel message throughout all of the platforms. That's going to be the message that goes across, especially on Instagram, for the business. And so it makes absolute sense that our ambassadors are also then reviewing and commenting on that particular product and that particular theme, so that all of our touch points are aligned, right? And then we're also going to be using that theme across their newsletter, for example, as well. So again, that theme is then consistent for that month, for all of their customers. And then what happens is the next month we'll send something else that happens to be a new product, and then the third month we're going to send something else. Ahead of them sort of us sending anything, what I did was I created a slide pack that basically just said, this is what Beauty Cubes is all about. This is their mission. This is what they stand for. These are helpful things to know about their product. So for example, explaining to the ambassadors how to use the cubes so that they don't fumble with them, or they're unsure or anything like that. So we're trying to, and I think we're actually going to also do a video that we'll likely deliver to them as well, showing them how. And the idea is to then give them everything so they can review that ahead of saying yes and confirming that they are happy. Okay, and the document also explains that this will span over 3 months, that we're going to be sending them different things over those 3 months, and that we're expecting one piece of content each week. So whether that's a blog post, a video, whether that's just a normal post on their Instagram or their Facebook or on their Twitter, you know, we're kindly asking them to stay engaged around the product throughout the month. And we've also given some kind of tips and ideas. Now, I'm not saying that they have to use them, because obviously ensuring that an ambassador has that creative freedom is really important. You don't want to be micromanaging them. That's the fastest way of burning a relationship, right? So you want to kind of respect the fact that they're going to do a really good job, because that's why you've picked them. You know, they know their audience, they know the type of content that they produce. What you're trying to do is say, well, with my product or service expertise, these are some suggestions that might help you as you start to think about how you want to represent the brand on your platforms. And so that's what we've done. And so what happens is we then deliver that. I delivered that pack to all of the ambassadors, and then they agree yes or no whether they want to be in or not. Everyone said yes. And so then the free samples have gone out, and actually where we are now is that, you know, that content is being created, and we're going to start to see it on their platforms shortly. Now, I will tell a little bit of a story around this as well. So despite everybody agreeing and being really happy, I actually had a list of 6 ambassadors, and I chose 5, and I kept one aside. And whether we were using that person as a backup for this month, or whether we were going to actually then use that person for the next round, you know, we were absolutely going to go with that ambassador, but I kept that person aside for a reason, just in case somebody wasn't happy with our approach. Now, this might happen, okay? So I'm all about kind of being really honest, and I'm not, you know, just, you know, managing people's expectations, hugely important, okay? So despite everybody saying yes, now everybody bar one came back to us and said, yeah, you know, that's great, it's fine, blah, blah. And then everybody, actually, no, everyone did come back to us and say, yeah, it's great, it's fine, we want to join in. And then the products were delivered, okay? And then everybody bar one came back and said, oh, this is amazing, this is great. They're going to use them because they're going on holiday soon. And, you know, they're really excited to create the content. And they were really kind of caught up in the whole excitement of it, the excitement of being chosen, the excitement of representing the company, the excitement of getting something new in the post that they can talk about. And it was really lovely. So it made us feel that we'd chosen the right people as our first group, really, to run the program with. And then we had one lady who came back and was disappointed. She was disappointed with the size of the product she received. She was disappointed in the value. She was disappointed that she was being asked to create 4 pieces of content. Now, bear in mind, we had already asked her to agree, you know, to that part of the program before, and now she was disappointed. And so we handled it, you know, as in a very, very professional way. We've let her keep the products and just said, you know, it's absolutely fine. You know, we weren't intending to cause anybody, you know, any upset. But if she's decided this isn't right for her, that's absolutely fine. And we've kind of, you know, parted ways. And that's okay, because as I said, I kept someone aside just in case. And whether we were actually going to use that person for our next round, but we've now invited them into this round. And so sometimes things like that happen. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I don't want you to sort of react and go, oh, it's not working. Oh, this is going to be too hard, because you will absolutely get people who may react like that, right? Especially when they feel that their content is worth a certain amount, or their audience is worth a certain amount, or, you know, their expectations somehow have been misaligned with kind of what you've been saying. Maybe they've interpreted something differently. You know, you will get people like that. You get it in customer care, you know, when people buy your product or service. The way you handle it is really important. What we don't want to do is create any animosity, right? So, you know, customer first, because at the end of the day, how you carry on that conversation is also going to be a reflection on the brand and the business, you know, whether, and especially in that kind of world, right? So, you know, we handled it in the best way that we could, and I think it was right. You know, we spoke about it in terms of the approach, and that's okay. You know, we decided that it wasn't right for us. So every now and then you may get somebody that isn't right for you. You might come across that person a month into your ambassador program, and you may just have to accept it as a small learning, okay? And that's okay, right? It's all about kind of evolving and growing that program and learning. I was a little bit surprised because everything had been laid out and we had mapped it all out, But again, that's all right. Something had obviously gone askew in middle. And, again, her expectations were something different. So again, just sharing this just to give you an idea that sometimes these things happen, but how you handle it, even through to that point is massively important, because that person does have a platform and you don't want them, you want to hopefully keep them as an advocate, even if they're not necessarily inside the ambassador program. And it also helps you to understand kind of who is right and who isn't for your brand. So even though we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications, going through every single one of them, and I created a spreadsheet that kind of then looked at all of their different accounts, whether it was Instagram, Facebook, how often they were posting. I looked at the level of engagement. I looked at the type of content that they were posting to see if it aligned with the actual values of the brand, right? And so I spent a lot of time sort of going through that list, as did Emma. We both did. And we came to the same conclusion when we had our summary of kind of who we were thinking would be suitable for this round. It's really interesting because as we spoke about it, Emma said to me, are we going to have enough people for the next round? I was like, absolutely, because, it will only carry on growing, right? So we'll grow on the foundation that we've built with this program. People are going to start to see our ambassadors joining in with the Beauty Cubes brand, and then we'll grow from there. It's the same with the Kindness Company, except for I run it slightly differently. Okay, I don't actually run an ambassador program in the truest sense of the word, but what I do is that the group that I'm forming, the customers that have bought our products, they are all ambassadors of our brand, right? So as long as they've been given a brilliant customer service, that we've adhered to all the delivery times, that it's reasonable cost, that it's great quality, and they're really happy with their product, they're going to carry on talking about the brand and the business, which is exactly what's happening. And so you actually create ambassadors through your service level as well. So I choose to do things slightly differently, and as you know, giveaways and comps are one of my approaches, but I use it selectively, and I make sure that that's also aligned with actually somebody either coming to a group or the science newsletter. I'm getting something that I need for my company in return. But those people are also ambassadors because they'll share pictures of those products. They'll post them in the groups. They'll post them in different places and show families and friends. So ambassadors can also are created in that sense of the word. But if you want a formal type program, then that's related to everything that I was saying earlier around all the work that we're doing Beauty Cubes about creating this presentation, making sure that we educate people and give them as much information and content to help them be able to, feel comfortable with the product or service so they could go on and then represent the brand. The other thing as well is that, they are part of your community. So everyone who touches your business is part of your community, and they need to also experience the level of care that you give to everybody who comes across your business, right? I know some people say to me they're not quite sure where to start, and I advise, start with your customers. Ask them, I want to run an ambassador program, who would be interested? Run a poll, use something that's interactive on your page, and just go from there and just see what happens. You're going to have to be careful because there'll be a group of people that just want something for free, which is why understanding things like, what their platforms are at the moment, what type of engagement they have, do they post consistently, all of those kind of measures are really important, because it will separate those that are serious and committed to supporting your brand and your business versus those who might like the idea of it but aren't necessarily there yet in terms of commitment. So that's where I would start. I would start with your customers and go from there. But feel free to ask, come into the group and ask any questions or anything you might have in terms of kind of formulating that. I know I'm doing a lot of talking around things at the moment, and we will shift to doing in a few weeks, so don't worry. But at the moment, I'm just kind of laying all the foundations in terms of all different things that you can do. I'm not saying you have to do it, but it's collaboration through something like this is one of the biggest winners for organic growth. When community is exactly that, right? Community is when you can connect people around the world, and you connect people based on a shared mission or shared interest. It's why we, love following, quotes, and why we all like jumping into big groups and things like that and contributing, is because we all, as humans, we like to feel that we're part of something. And that's why community is so important, because it's a strong point of connection. And that's why kind of placing it at the heart of your business and nurturing that can only ever be a good thing for you and your brand. And so hence the reason why I'm probably so passionate and I talk about it, because I've seen both sides of it, right? I've been seeing both sides of community. So yeah, so I hope that helps. Tomorrow I'll be jumping into the group and I'll be talking about something else. But as always, you know, please let me know if these videos are helpful. If you've got any questions, let me know. I know I'm asking you to spend, you know, your valuable time watching these, so thank you very much. I'm very grateful for that. And as always, if you know anyone who might enjoy these videos and our posts and our interactions, please let them know. The more the merrier. And I will speak to you very soon. Take care.